Hello everyone, I'm finally back. I know I've been away for way too long, but this year, oh my days, it's definitely been the busiest year ever. I've got so much stuff going on, and also at the same time, I was finding it a bit hard to figure out new content ideas since our beautiful fat little town is all finished. But in today's video, I decided that we are going to attempt to make a Mediterranean styled house. I've always wanted to build one of these. I just love how they look. It's like the uniqueness of the roof and whatever, the color palette. I just love all that. So let's get started. Having a massive plot like this is really weird because I'm so used to having to cram every single building into that town that we had to deal with for like a whole year. So now that I've got this whole plot, I've got a lot of freedom to work with the size of this thing. So I think I'm going to make it on the smaller side, but I still want to make it a double story. Looking at Pinterest, I like this house here because it's kind of small, but it's also got a whole bunch of detail in it. So I'm going to try and model off of that photo. A lot of the references I was looking at, most of the windows had some sort of arch shape to it. So because Bloxburg is kind of limited in that area, I'm going to use a lot of these plain rectangular windows, but I might use some basic shapes later to give it a more arched look. On the porch here, I want to add a curved pillar design, so I'm going to start off with a basic cube just so I can get the correct width for the pillars. Because I was low-key, inactive for like 3 months, I was a little bit late to the whole Bloxburg update thing. But I know a lot of people are kind of hating on it, but I actually really like it because I appreciate how they kept most of the original Bloxburg buildings, because if they just bulldozed everything, that would actually really suck. But since they've kept what kind of like the iconic bits of Bloxburg, I think I quite like it. I think the size is a little bit big for my liking, but at the same time, it makes the map a lot more explorable and stuff in terms of role plays and things, because the old map, you couldn't really go much places. It was mainly just the pizza place and whatever in the town centre. So I think having more of more landscaping and things, that just helped the map seem a little bit more immersive and stuff. Up here, I want to add a little balcony because I think it'll give the building a bit more shape, because if I just added the roof all across the porch, I feel like it would look a bit too much like the Simpsons house or something. So I think having that little break in between the roofs will look a lot better. I'm gonna start off with these windows, and then later on I can use some basic shapes to add a curve at the top. I think just using like a basic window like this will help instead of having to make my own custom window, because I do not want to go through the pain of doing that right now. I was thinking of what I should do for the roof, because there's a simple option where I use a certain material that looks like the tiling that most Mediterranean houses have. But knowing me, I like my details, so at the same time, I kind of want to spend like 10 hours making my own custom tiles. I don't know, I just feel like it would be cool, and I feel like, I don't know, it's really just gonna like chew through all of my money. But hey, I think it would look really cool in the end. Oh, yeah. Now that the main porch design is finished, I'm going to start adding the details. So I'm going to use a curve here just so I can make the arch shape that I wanted to add. I would be so cooked if I did not have the transform tool. And honestly, I don't know how 2024 me did all of those detailed builds without this thing, because literally the only trick in the book I had was the carpet and basic shape trick. I don't know how that's not patched. And I don't know why I was able to actually add detailed stuff, but hey, that's the arches all finished. I think it's all almost even. Don't look at that corner over there. So now that that is done, I think we really need to start doing the roof. See, if you look at these pictures, all of the tiles are poking out and they're kind of all layered on each other, and they're flattened cylinder kind of shapes. So I think the way I'm going to try and make that in game is I'll use probably some horizontal cylinders, because I don't think you can get half cylinders, and besides it's probably more expensive anyway. So I think I'm going to use these. And basically what I had in mind was just to layer and stack them on top of each other to give the idea of tiles. Hopefully this doesn't chew through my money too much. And I know, I could have just painted the roof to look like the tiles, but I want to be different, because look at that looks beautiful. I think the detail is going to look really good at the end. It is so hard to make these not on an angle. Like, oh my days, that is so bad. That is like so lopsided on my days. One thing I forgot to actually do is to finish the rest of the house, so I'm just gonna whip up a quick layout. I just need to make sure that there's a little bit of variety with the shape instead of just making it square and stuff. What I'm thinking for the main roof is I'll probably use the manted roof, just because it's simple, and most of the Mediterranean houses I've seen go something along that kind of design. So I'll probably use this and just flatten it a wee bit. And on this area I want it to be more of a gable roof style thing, but the gable roof in game is a little bit too big, so I'm gonna try and make my own custom one. I am actually gonna go bankrupt at the end of this video, because look at that, only that amount of the roof is 16 grand.
Oh my days.
Because the manted roof has that little cornered thing here, I think I'm going to just use only one cylinder across here, because I'm pretty sure that's what it looks like in real life anyways. So I'll just position it so it can fit a little bit better. So this roof area is basically what's going to be on all four corners of the whole roof. So I'm going to have to go through that painful process of doing that all again.
Many months later.
We've come across a tiny little problem. You see these little cylinder things that are sticking out. I can't really get rid of those, otherwise it'll delete all of the tiles that I've done, but other than that, it looks kind of decent, a little bit weird, but basically all I need to do now is just put all of the tiles on this side, and then I also have to somehow combine it to the other gable roof area. So this is gonna be fun. Probably the hardest part of this tiling method is that I have to make sure all of the cylinders are in line, because as you saw before, the other roof that I did was very wonky and it looked really bad, but that means I'll have to do this really carefully. To save you guys lots of boring time, I spent
Over an hour, trying to
do this roof, and it's really ugly at the back here, but hey, no one is going to see it. I came across a bit of a problem trying to connect the roofs together, but overall, if you look at it like on this kind of angle, around these sides, I think it looks pretty clean. And I think the idea with these cylinders and stuff, it makes the build a lot more detailed and definitely makes the tiles look a lot more realistic. And see here, if I get rid of those, I get rid of half of the roof, so we're just gonna ignore that. So now I want to start focusing on more of the window details. So see, like on these pictures, there's a subtle arch right above the windows. So in order to do that, I reckon I'm going to use some basic shapes. So this is just going to be the basis of the wall. So I'll have to cover the existing wall so it looks as realistic and clean as it can. And I know in the structural section there are some in-game arches that I could use, but I find them really fiddly and annoying to use even with the transform tool, so I'm just going to stick with these curves here, so it'll give me a little bit more flexibility and stuff when I'm trying to add the correct shape. So I think that looks really good, so I'm going to have to do the same thing on the top windows, and I'm not sure I'll do it on the big windows by the porch, but maybe the other one that's right beside the porch. This whole video I have not colored a single thing yet, so I think I'm going to play around with some colors first. So from most of the references I've seen, the windows and the roof is a reddy orangey brown kind of tone, see, kind of similar to that, and then the walls are usually a sandy color. Okay, so it looks like the walls are generally made of stucco. I don't know what the hang that is, but stucco or stone. So I'm gonna search up what the hang stucco is. So, okay, it's kind of similar to the concrete texture in game. It's like very slaty and rough. So I reckon I could probably find a pattern that looks like that. I reckon that concrete is the best way to go for this because it gives the rough look that most Mediterranean houses have, and I reckon that sandy color looks good. And for the roof, looking at all the pictures, it's normally just a tiled bricky kind of deal, so there's probably something along the lines of that would be good.
Ese culo bota caca.
I'm actually gonna poo my pants. I completely forgot to color all of the tiles before placing them down, and I'm gonna have to do this for flipping all of these 1,000 tiles. This is actually gonna go, this is gonna make me go insane. This is gonna take so long. Bro, if Bloxburg added a select tool for colouring, they would be the beautifulest people in the world. I really wish that I had that option right now because this is going to make me crash out. I think I'm going to have to do this off camera. So, I'll see you guys in a little while. Yeah. Okay guys, I've played around with a few colours for the porch here, and I didn't end up doing all of the roof because, bro, I am not spending all my time on that right now. But I'm just wondering if this should be grey or if it should be the brown, because a lot of the pictures I've seen, some of them have that more browny tiled thing and others have like a sleek grey stone, but I reckon it looks best like this. At the moment, I'm not particularly planning to do an interior, definitely not in this video, maybe in the future, but for now I'm going to cover up the windows with the classic light boxes as I always do. I just feel like it'll make the build look a lot better and it will make it look less empty. This is how I do it, guys. I just use the cube and carpet trick like I was talking about earlier. It still isn't patched, so I'm going to use it to my advantage. So that looks really good. It kind of looks like an in-game NPC house, but hey, it's okay. It'll look a lot better once I fill in the other ones and also add some more details. So first, I need to add a bit more details on the roof. What I was thinking for this is to use some wedges to add on the bottom of the tiles, and I'll probably do it on every like few tiles because I've seen it in a whole bunch of the Mediterranean houses, so I'm gonna try do that. I love how perfectly symmetrical this is because I can do a little wedge for every 3 tiles, and usually I am so far out from being symmetrical, but this wall is just so, I'm so thankful that it's symmetrical, otherwise it would have looked like dookie. I completely forgot to add the arch around the window, so I'm gonna have to go back to square one and move these wedges out of the way. For the next roof detail, what I wanted to add is a little tower roof thingy. I don't know what they're called, but it's just something that's on top of the roof that sticks up, and it kind of looks like it's got another story on top, but it also kind of looks like a chimney. I don't know what it is, but I think it's cute, so I'm gonna try build it. So it's going to be kind of like this height. I might make it a little bit shorter because I don't want it to stick out too much, but I also want you to be able to see it when you're on the ground. This kind of looks like the top of a church. I feel like I should be putting a little bell or something in the middle. I think I'll swoop that one around like that, and yeah, I think that's a cute little design. It looks a little bit weird, but I think once I add some more details and plants and stuff, it'll look a lot better. This balcony is a little bit tricky because a lot of the reference photos I've seen, you can't really see the balcony very well, and then when you can, it's a tiny balcony, and I feel like I need to add quite a lot of detail on this one in Bloxburg, otherwise it'll look a little bit too blocky and stuff. Oh, I forgot about these molding things. Moldy, I don't know, but I use them a lot in my town builds and stuff, and they give a lot more shape and detail to the build. So yes, that looks beautiful. I'm definitely going to keep that. The last thing I'm going to add for the detail is I'm going to get some plants, because a lot of the pictures I saw, they had heaps of potted and hanging plants everywhere. So since I have a balcony, I'm going to use that to add a whole bunch. I'm also wondering if I should add some hanging vines on the roof, but I don't really know because I don't want the build to look too overgrown and stuff, but also a lot of the reference pictures I've seen have that, so I think I'll just stick with these, and then I'll add a whole bunch of foliage on the outside of the house rather than on it. Okay, now that the main base of the house is finished, I'm gonna start by adding all of the foliage and the path and stuff. It's kind of hard to find some decent reference pictures, but as like the main theme that I'm seeing here is just palm trees, and also like not really any fences, and it's more like outside on the lining of the paths is just random bushes and stuff, so I'll try to replicate that here. I have had Bloxburg for like at least 5 years, and I still have not maxed out my gardening skills at all. I still can't even afford like half of the trees and stuff, but like who wants to do the gardening? It takes so long, like having to farm that, it just takes way too long. I don't know how people are so committed. I think these hedges are a little bit too big, so I'm gonna make them more like a lined fence rather than an actual hedge. See, I really wish I could afford that palm tree, the banana tree, but I'm stuck with this crusty little thing. I think having all of these bushes crammed together looks real good, so I think I'm going to replicate that on the other side somehow. Honestly guys, if you want to make your paths look a lot more realistic and run down, definitely use large stones and flat stones, because it will definitely make the path a lot more interesting and less flat. Okay guys, the build is finally done. This has literally taken me weeks because of all the money grinding I've had to do. But here is the final result. It's a little bit yucky from a like grounds perspective, but if you come up here, you can see all of the roof details and stuff. So if you see up here, you can see the little tower things, I guess, and don't look too closely because the tiling, you know, it's a little bit questionable on that side, but you know, no one's gonna see that. So there's the cute little porch area, which I love, and there's heaps of greenery, flowers, foliage, we got some palm trees, and we also have a decent path area, and then we also have the balcony, which is up top, if I can flip and get up here. So that is going to be the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me do this build. Sorry it took 3 months for me to come back, but I'm back guys, and hopefully I'll be able to pump out some new content soon. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.